Hello, my name is Michael Deere, and I'm here with my good friend Shelby Mullen. And today we are discussing a recent transition in her life. Now, Shelby, could you think of a recent hardship that led to a change in your life, and could you tell us what happened?
Last February, we went sledding on Slater Hill with our friends, and we were all just having fun, taking turns going down the hill on different types of sleds, different types of tubes. And the last thing I remember is waiting for my turn on the tube.
Because of what happened next, I'm going to have to continue the story from there. Shelby and her boyfriend went down the hill together on a tube. At the bottom, her boyfriend was able to jump off, but Shelby somehow was stuck. She ended up hitting the wall of the amphitheater with her head. The next several minutes were difficult as my friends and I waited on an ambulance helplessly while she laid on the ground motionless and screaming. The ambulance took a while, but when it finally arrived, they were very careful in picking her up and putting her inside. It transported her and her boyfriend to the hospital. My friends and I waited until the next morning when her boyfriend called to let us know what had happened. Could you describe the injuries that you sustained?
I fractured my skull in 3 places, had a traumatic brain injury, had a lung contusion, and suffered from short term memory loss.
Looking back at this, did you experience a sense of loss or feel that you had to let go of something?
Yes, I had to withdraw from all of my classes at Purdue. I had to move back home, and my driving privileges were taken away for a couple of months, and I'm not allowed to go on a roller coaster or play contact sports for 2 years.
Did getting withdrawn from your classes, did that make you feel like you were going to get behind?
Yes, I was very worried about it, but I was able to work with the Office of Dean of Students and my academic advisor and get everything straightened out. But it was a tough transition just because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Did not being able to play contact sports or go on roller coasters with your friends, did that take any toll on you? Because I know you enjoyed contact sports because we played volleyball and basketball together, and I know how much you enjoyed being active. Did that take any toll on you?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to do much at the beginning. Like, I wasn't even allowed to run or stuff, anything, and I was a runner in high school. And just like not being able to do fun things with whenever all my friends could, that was hard. But I've also been with a great group of friends. Like this summer, someone suggested going to a theme park, but they knew that I wasn't able to. So instead, we changed it to a water park so that I could participate in like water slides. And it's just like I've just realized that I have a great group of friends because they're willing to accommodate to me.
How did the loss of these things make you feel? Did you experience any emotions such as denial, anger, anxiety, sadness, or disorientation?
Yeah, I was anxious and sad, and I was disoriented.
Could you tell us how you felt anxiety during this time?
Yeah, I was very anxious and nervous about like withdrawing from all my classes because had no idea how that was going to affect my class schedule, and I didn't know if it would affect my graduation date. I didn't know if I had to be here for another year or anything. And then also, once I was able to get back in classes, I didn't know if I would hear something once that the teacher said and just forget it because I didn't know how well my memory was going to stay. And that was just really nerve wracking because I didn't know how to, like, I've never done poorly in classes, and I just didn't know how this was going to affect it.
Yeah. Could you describe how you experienced sadness?
Yeah, I felt really sad because all of my friends and family, they remember this whole situation, and I don't have memory of the whole week after it, and I just felt so sad that they would have to go through that over me.
Could you also describe how you felt disorientation?
Yeah, whenever I was at the hospital, I don't remember it, but they said that I would wake up sometimes and they'd tell me about the accident and how I was in the hospital, and sometimes I'd say, okay, and then other times I would just start crying.
All right. During the time between your change or loss and your new beginning, how would you describe your life or your experiences?
So I spent 1 week in the hospital, and then after that, I was released to a rehabilitation hospital, and there I was doing occupational therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy. I was there for about a week, And after that, I got transitioned into outpatient therapy. So I was able to move home with my family and just go to outpatient therapy once a week.
All right. During this part of the transition, were there any opportunities to do things differently or in a new way?
Yes, the therapist kept teaching me little memory tricks, just so like to strengthen my memory. Like one thing they had me do was card games, and they also told me to set reminders and alarms because certain things that normal people would be able to remember, I just wouldn't recall it. Like I had to take medicine every day, so they told me just to set a reminder, and then that would tell me to do it.
So you said you got to learn some new card games. Could you describe one of them for us that helped you get back your short-term memory?
Yeah. So the therapist would flip over a card, and then I would have to remember it 2 cards back, like so 2 cards on top of that, and I'd say the first card. So that really helped strengthen my short-term memory because it was a timed situation, and I had to name the suit, the color, and like if it was a ace.
So it was a very stressful game that helped you just help build short-term memory.
Yes.
What do you think was your new beginning?
I would say my new beginning was whenever I was able to come back to Purdue. I came back last spring, but I was only able to do one class, organic chemistry, and then I also had to move rooms whenever I got back because I had a roommate before, but they wanted me to be by myself so it wouldn't be as stressful. And also, I had to move closer to my RA just in case I needed anything.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Continue.
After that, I would say, or then I transitioned into summer, which I had an internship and one online class. So that was a lot of working hours and a new environment, and then plus that one class. And then this fall, I came back to 17 credit hours, but it turned out that that was too much to handle, and I had to drop one class to go back to 14.
How do you think you knew that you were at your new beginning?
I was at my new beginning because I was able to establish a new schedule. I got a new routine and knew what I was doing, and everything seemed to be working well, and I just felt more comfortable.
You say you came back to organic chemistry was your only class. That's a very difficult class. How were you able to handle that?
I handled it by developing new study habits. I realized that it took me longer to process what I was reading. So instead of starting to study like 3 days before, I started a whole week before. And I would take detailed notes just so I could review those and just really get an understanding of it. And I also made flashcards to test myself quickly and just make sure that I got every detail.
How do you feel about the change process that you've been through?
This change has brought a lot of stuff to my life. It brought adversity, but I think they have all made me a stronger person. I was able to create deeper relationships with all of my family members and my friends and just see how people are really there for me during tough times.
Now, looking back at this, would you have done anything differently if you had to do it over again?
I would wear a helmet.
That's good. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. Do you have any different approaches that you would take if you were facing the same thing?
Well, I think that maybe if I would have been facing the same thing, it was a very difficult situation, obviously. But maybe I would have started out instead of doing 17 credit hours in my first year back, I probably would have went with 14 to begin with. But that's just me. Well, it's been nice talking to you today about your transition. I hope that everyone learned something today from seeing you and hearing about your experiences. I enjoyed having you here in my room. So thank you for having this interview.